This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the figures and accessories that came with the standard version of the Ecto-1. These are the things that everybody got who supported the main standard version of the Ecto-1. Of course, I got the deluxe version, so I do have the extra stuff to make the Ecto-2 and the Ghostbusters 2 editions, but that's a side note. Although technically Tully is part of Ghostbusters 2. With that being said, let's take a look at these figures, and we're just going to go in the order in which they are sitting here. First up is our buddy Slimer. Now, this is kind of interesting in that Slimer is pretty cool and disappointing at the same time. The design is glorious here. While his mouth doesn't move at all, unfortunately, he does have some articulation in his arms, not a lot. You can fold them like that. You can spin at that elbow joint, and the hand moves. And those are some pretty freaky looking big hands here. He's got some good coloring here with some yellow. It's unfortunate that they didn't give us any food to go with him or anything. But the reason why, well, hold on. He's also got a butt. He has got some junk in that trunk. He's got the booty for miles. Okay, anyway. The part that's kind of disappointing is that he's not at all transparent. Which, to be fair, I think it would be kind of difficult to give us a good version of Slimer and have him be transparent. But I would have liked to have seen them try, you know? Since he is still technically a transparent ghost. But man, he is an absolute disgusting blob. And it's kind of interesting to think about that this thing became like the mascot in the real Ghostbusters cartoon, you know? But yeah, he's actually not too bad looking. Like I said, we've got limited articulation. The wrists do spin and they do have an in and out fold. But that's it for Slimer. He does have a stand here that he goes on. That's just this little clear spectral misty thing. And, you know, a hole in his butt. Well, I guess you can't really say butt because he really does have a butt. But a hole in the bottom here for the stand to go on. So that's him. He's actually pretty nice. I mean, honestly, I think I forgot that he was even coming with this set. I remember the Library Ghost and Lewis, but I totally forgot about Slimer. Speaking of which, the Library Ghost here. And while technically these may be her accessories with just a stack of books, which, not gonna lie, this may be one of the lamest sets of accessories that they've ever given us for something. Because, you know, this is supposed to represent the book stacking in the library, but, you know, those stacks are like that. We also have here a copy of Tobin's Spirit Guide with some funky little design on there. Hopefully you guys can see that. But it's not particularly interesting. That being said, that does bring us to Miss Librarian Ghost. She does have a waist swivel, which honestly surprises me. Oh, check that out, by the way. The stand is also turning. So if we pull that out and look here. So this is the bottom part of that. And the skirt is a separate piece. So apparently, that's why when you spin her at the waist there, which I guess technically it's not really a waist swivel so much as it's just, you know, the skirt doesn't move with it. But anyway, let's go on. Unfortunately, she's only got a spin at her shoulder. They did not put any additional articulation in the shoulder at all. So they don't pop out, which is honestly kind of cheap. Is that how she looked like in the prototype, or did they actually look fully articulated then? She's got a single joint in the elbow here, although it does have quite a bit of range. The hands spin. They do have an in and out swing to their joint. I don't know if her finger's supposed to be bent that far or if that's just kind of a problem here. She's got her little pointing, shushing finger, which... Oh, wow, we can pretty much get her to pick her nose. Because she doesn't have a double jointed wrist or a double jointed elbow and a bicep cut here. You can't quite get her finger in the right position to do the shushing thing, which is a shame. Also, once again, like I said, there's no additional articulation in here like modern figures have. Her head is on a ball joint, spins around and looks up and down. We can pop that off, and that's how big the ball is. Actually, let's leave that off for the moment. Her head sculpt looks pretty good, though. I mean, however, something to point out here, if you're really creative, you could put a light underneath her. Okay, admittedly, this is just a flashlight. And you can make her body glow. It doesn't really go all the way through the body, unfortunately. But still, I mean, if you put an LED light in the bottom of her, it could still look pretty cool. And if you're super creative, you might actually be able to, like, open up her body and stick one actually inside of her, too. That, of course, leaves us with Tully. And look at that panicked expression on his face. Panicked, like, kind of expression, I guess. As far as he goes, his articulation does appear to be standard figure articulation. Head moves up and down on a ball joint, spins around. He's got butterfly joints, missing from the ghost chick. He's got a hinge in his arm, so it can go up, missing on the ghost chick, and down. Bicep cut, also missing. Double jointed elbows, also missing from her. Waist swivel. Actually, he can kind of do the G.I. Joe thing there with the way his waist moves. Does not have drop down hips, apparently. One thing to note, though, like, seriously, it's really hard to move his arms. The joints are kind of stiff. And it feels like the bicep wants to come pull off. And I haven't had a figure since the original cover girl in Classified that was that bad. But he's pretty close to that. Leg hinges up and out. Cannot do the splits. Can't really go backwards, straight back. We do still have a thigh cut. We have a double jointed knee. We have a... Interesting. The boot is a separate piece from the pant leg, but it appears to actually be glued into place, which is kind of stupid. We do have a hinge, though, at his foot, and it can spin. Now, just real quick, if you think that this is a new body for Louis Tully, you would be 100% wrong, because it is Ray Stance's body, 100%. This is the slimed version of Ray, by the way. And the only reason why he's shorter than Ray is because of the boots. And that is literally just this part of the boot. Although that would be why it's glued in there. Because there's not a boot cut on the original Ghostbuster figures here. Oh, look at that. They're all pinned to joints, too. You would have thought they would have been pinless at this point. But yeah, so they attached that and glued it. But it is basically the same pant legs as well. It's just different boot tops, basically. So that being said, we do have the rest of his equipment. He has a proton pack. Timber. Which I don't know if you remember what a pain in the ass these things are to deal with. So we got to take that off like that, basically. Slide him in there. Get the back peg in place. Pull him back out again because we didn't get the other arm in all the, like we should have. Slide the arm in there. Slide the head in there. Squeeze him around. to get that bag peg into place. And then because he uses Ray's body, which is a little chunkier than the rest of them, the big challenge here is now getting this back into place. And as you can see, probably, we have already started to fatigue the plastic just trying to do this. There we go. If we put it under his gut, it fits. So along with that, he comes with a PKE meter, which is open, but designed to attach to his belt, which makes no sense because it shouldn't be open. He's got a ghost trap, yet he doesn't actually have a place to put it. This belt, actually, I think, might be new also, or it might go with one of the other Ghostbusters. I just thought maybe the ghost trap could it kind of fits on that, which honestly looks like it's the walkie-talkie. But you could put the ghost trap right there if you wanted to. And then we have neutrino wand, which plugs in on the side here and then plugs into the bottom off to the side there. And then, of course, we can have him hold it in his hands. Possibly. See, the problem is this is still a hard plastic. It's not even a tube. It's not like rubber or anything. It's literally the same plastic as the rest of the gun is made out of. So it tends to maintain that shape, which makes it even more difficult to try to put it in their hands. Also, pretty sure they're just using like the standard style G.I. Joe hand. Like literally, because there's like a trigger finger here on both of them. So I don't know how many of you have actually tried to pose a Ghostbusters figure before. But it is not an easy task. Because, as always, they've got to try to cheat these things in order to get them properly positioned. You can't really get these figures. The hands do not move in a manner that really allows you to point them properly. And in all truth, they might have been able to do that if they had given us the wrist here, had been given up and down articulation instead of in and out. Or is it, wait. I guess it is in and out. Never mind. Shut up. I'm stupid. It is actually up and down articulation. But it still doesn't allow me to position the hand the way I want to. Well, while we got it like that, let's just go ahead and take the blast here. So we've got this nice solid tube here of orange plastic, which goes to about the middle of that. And then it's a soft blue rubber. And it just kind of fits at the end there. In the original toy line here that we had, Winston was the only one that came with the blast effect. And it got droopy. I'm just going to straight out say it got very, very droopy. But this seems to be about the closest you can get to actually positioning them so that it looks like they're blasting. Which sucks. Because they really should be able to hold it more straight forward than side to side like that. But yeah, that's about as far as it goes. Like I said, it would really be nice if they could actually hold it, you know, position it so that like it's like this or something. But you can't get his hands quite that well done, you know? Let's go ahead and take the blast effect off, put the neutrino wand in the backpack because it's the natural position of the plastic there. We can go ahead and put the PKE meter in his hand, and we can put the ghost trap in his other hand. You'll note there is no actual cord for the ghost trap, however. But we still have this, we have a clear plastic tube here, which on the original one, it was yellow. They did some additional paint details on the new one. I wonder if this... Okay, yeah. So the big difference in the belts here is that there is a hook glued into that hole on Ray. But like I said, it's Ray Stanz's body again, just reused for Louis Tully. So as far as this additional figures go for the Ecto-1, I actually like them overall. It is a bit disappointing that they didn't give us more articulation in the Librarian Ghost, especially since, you know, that iconic pose, well, I don't know if iconic's the right word for it, but where she had her finger up to her lips to shush them. I don't feel like that finger gets in quite the right place to do that with the articulation they gave us. And maybe I'm misimagining the scene, but I could have sworn she just put her finger right up to her lips, you know, like you do for a shushing thing. And like I said, you can't really quite position her finger that way. Slimer has a fat ass, like really fat ass. I just can't stop myself. I'm glad that he's not just a solid figure. They did give us arm articulation, even if it's not much. And I guess that's to keep the body shape, because technically speaking, he does kind of have shoulders there that they could have made to move also if they'd really wanted to. And I guess there's probably not really a good way for them to give us a mouth on him that opens and closes, just again because of the way he's designed. He would almost have to be like a flexible rubber for that to work, and he's not, so it doesn't. And that of course leaves us with Rick Moranis, aka Louis Tully. It's interesting actually that his uniform has the Ghostbusters 2 logo on it. I am like 90% positive that in the movie his uniform had the regular Ghostbusters logo on it, not the 2, because he was using one of their old uniforms. And it's one of Spangler's old uniforms, just to point that out, even if his body is raised. The head sculpt is really well done, though. I mean, it really does look like Rick Moranis and Louis Tully, you know? They did an excellent job on that. I think it's kind of a shame that they gave us a PKE meter that's open that attaches to his belt and not, you know, a closed window attached to it. You know, you could have thrown the extra one in there. As far as displaying with the neutrino wand in hand goes, however, I just don't think that's going to happen. Mostly, once again, because it doesn't like to stay up. Now, the neutrino blast may be a bit different than the one that actually came with the first Winston, as maybe the effect in the middle might have been also that same soft plastic. I just don't remember, and I don't know where I packed it away. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with these extra figures. I'll have to figure out where I'm going to put them in my display, because I forgot about almost all of them. But this is also, by the way, the second Louis Tully figure that they have made in the Ghostbusters Plasma series, because they did have one come with one of the Terror Dogs as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. But what do you guys actually think about these figures? Do you think they're well worth the money? Do you think they did a good job on them? Do you wish they would have given us more articulation in the Library Ghost as well? And maybe actually, like I was saying, since you could put some kind of lighting in her technically, it would have been nice if they designed her body so maybe you could pop it off and stick an LED light in there with like a little watch battery to light her up in your display if you wanted. I mean, I did say before that the Ecto-1 did have that USB cord that will allow you to keep the lights running in your display without running out of battery or turning off, I guess, on its own. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, please feel free to blast that like button. And if you want to hear more of my nonsense in the future, you can subscribe. You'll probably want to do that if you want to see the Ghostbusters 2 Ghostbusters and the Ecto-1A review that I will do when that one actually shows up as well. And the day that I'm recording this, I did have a notification from FedEx that it was supposed to be delivered today. I have been home all day today and awake since way earlier than I wanted to be, and FedEx has not shown up. No surprise there. Actually, technically, with what time it is that I'm recording this, that was yesterday. Anyway, I thank you for watching. Peace and love.